Good morning, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to this week's Facebook Live. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada. And every Friday I go live with a crafty project. So welcome to this week's live. All right, I'm just updating my iPad here. Here we go. Okay, so I like to kick off the lives with a giveaway. And I usually give away the projects from the previous week. So these are the two projects that I created in last week's live using the Silly Goose stamp set, which I was so happy to see is carrying over to the new catalog. Such a cute little set. I did notice it on the last chance list, but it is in the new catalog, so that must have been a little bit of a mistake there. So you can always go back and watch the replay either on my Stamped Treasures Facebook page, or you can also find it on my YouTube channel as well. And the lucky winners, well, how you get entered, let me just explain that for anybody who might be new. How you get entered is just by participating in the conversation. So whether you're watching on the replay on YouTube or you're watching live, just comment, just let me know what you love about the card, or if I ask any questions, just participate in the conversation. It just makes me feel like I'm not sitting here talking to myself. So the lucky winner for this card is Lorraine Drummond. So Lorraine, if you can send me a private message with your mailing address, I'll pop that in the mail for you this weekend. And Betty Domes is the lucky winner for this one. And I have your address, Betty, so I'll pop those in the mail. All right, so thank you so much to everyone who watched last week's live, who shared the video. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, everyone. All right, set those aside. Okay, now let's talk about what is going on. There is a lot of stuff happening right now. Earlier this week, Stampin' Up! Released their last chance product list from both of these catalogs. So for both the mini catalog and the annual catalog, because we are on the verge of a brand new catalog. So of course, lots of products need to retire so that they can make space for new ones. So I have posted those in the on my Facebook group. They will also be in today's blog post. And I went ahead and I highlighted a catalog. So I like to do this because I'm a very visual person. So I go through and I highlight everything that is retiring. Now, to be honest, when I'm excited to see things go, because as a business demonstrator, I use my products a lot and I'm always ready to take out that retired product and fill my stamp drawer with new product. So I love to see things retire. But there are always a few things that really surprise me and that I'm sad to see go. This time around, the page 73, the Forever Fern stamp set, and the coordinating dies. I think they're called Forever Flourishing dies. I was so sad to see those go. I really thought that this would kind of be a classic that would carry over year after year after year, just because, I mean, you can never have enough leaves, and they just work with so many different stamp sets. So I was really surprised to see that. So if you don't have this stamp set and the coordinating dies, that might be something you want to pick up before it's gone. And now, actually, just going to point out that there is a sale on, like, there's a selection of these last chance products that will be on sale up to 40% off. So not everything is on sale, but there is a selection of things that are on sale. But that sale does not start until April 4th. So I just wanted to point that out. All of the supplies on here that are retiring are available while supplies last. So if you do wait until April 4th to get it, to grab it, you run the risk of it not being available. Okay, so I wanted to clarify that. The other thing that really surprised me that I will not get rid of is the Stamparatus. The Stamparatus is a stamp positioning tool, and it is so fabulous. It is great for stamping your greetings to make sure that they're straight, for positioning something if you want it in a particular place. This is such a great resource. And if you check my YouTube channel and you search for Stamparatus, you'll find several videos where I share some tips and tricks on using it. So you can check that out. And if you don't have one, then this might be something you want to pick up. If you do have a Stamparatus, then, and you use that small grid paper, all of the accessories that go along with this are being retired. So you might want to pick up some small grid paper. Then at the back, all right, some of the things I love that Stampin' Up! Comes out with dies that sometimes don't necessarily coordinate with a stamp set. So some of these ones that I was sad to see go, well, beautiful shapes, just because again, it's full of classic kind of shapes that we can use. So this one is retiring, and I love this one because it's got the hexagons in it. That one did come as a bundle with the Beautiful Shapes stamp set, or Beautiful, I can't remember what the stamp set name is, and that is retiring as well. But I do love the dies, and I'm on the fence on whether I'm going to get rid of those or not. The other thing that I was surprised to see on the list is the layering circles, because we always need so many different sizes of circles. So I was surprised to see those on the retiring list as well. Oh, and the stitch rectangles. Stitch rectangles are leaving as well. Now that one doesn't surprise me as much, just because we've got scalloped rectangles in this one. We've got the Stitch with Whimsy, which kind of has some rectangles. We've got that new Radiating Stitches, which has some rectangles in it. So we do have a nice variety of rectangles, but I know that these are really, really popular. So those are retiring as well. So I would encourage you all to just kind of check that list, or those lists, because there's a completely separate list for the mini catalog, and just make sure that anything that is on your wish list is not retiring. Okay. All right. Also, there is a huge color refresh coming up. So there are lots of colors retiring. I think there's 15 colors retiring. Don't quote me on that number. But 15 colors that are retiring, which means that if you have those colors, you want to make sure that you have the ink refills. Make sure if you're running low on cardstock, you might want to pick up an extra package of cardstock just to make sure that you have cardstock so you can continue to use that ink color. And they're being replaced by some beautiful new colors. I can't wait to share them with you. There are some great ones. The in colors, the new upcoming in colors are so beautiful, and they are so on trend. I know that they're not going to be for everyone because they are very different, but they are really trendy colors. When I think about my daughter and the way she's decorated her house and kind of that generation, those colors scream, like I think she would just love those colors. So, all right. If you have any questions about the retiring products, about the color refresh, anything at all, just post it in comments or send me a quick message. I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so let's get on to our crafty project. Today, we are going to use the Seaside Bay bundle, which is part of the By the Bay suite. I was excited to see that this bundle is carrying over. The DSP is not, and the DSP, if you have the bundle, you need the DSP. The DSP is absolutely stunning. It's a 6x6 pattern paper that have some images that can be cut from the die. So the little crab will cut this guy out. The bird will cut this guy out. So I'll do a quick flip through. Let's do it this way so that you can see both sides. I think I have 2 sheets of some of them in here. Good morning, Denise. Good morning, Reg. Good morning, Christine and Gail and Kim. Okay, we'll do a quick flip through. So this is a specialty DSP. So some of the pages have this kind of like a clear embossed kind of pattern. You can kind of see it in the video there. And then some of them have some gold foil accents. I love this one. I love both sides of this pattern paper. And today I'm going to share how you can create 2 cards out of one 6x6 with very little waste. Good morning, Sarah. Look at this one. It's got the stripes, but then it's also got that clear embossed pattern in there as well. This is the pattern we're going to use today. We're going to use both sides. And there we go. So there is the 6x6 As part of the suite, there is also this beautiful balmy blue and white variegated ribbon. So you can kind of see it's almost like an ombre ribbon. It has blue and it gradually gets lighter, and then it's white on the other end. And then these really pretty flat adhesive backed pearls as well. Okay, so that is part of the By the Bay suite. And this is also the bundle or the collection that we're working with for this month's Class to Go. So Laura and I designed 6 cards using this collection of products, and they are absolutely stunning. I'll share a peek of 4 of the 6 towards the end of the video. Okay, so we are going to start with a 3 by 6 inch piece of DSP, and I'm using this one here. So you can get 2 of these cards out of 1 piece of 6 by 6 with very, very little waste. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a ruler and a pencil, and we're gonna measure 3 3/8. Oh, let's use inches. 3 3/8 down on one side, and then I'm gonna flip the paper around and measure 3 3/8 on this side. Make these lines a little bit longer. Okay, now I'm gonna bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm gonna cut it at an angle. So I'm gonna line up that pencil mark with the pencil mark on this side. And I'm gonna trim it right across. And you actually really don't even need to measure if you don't want to. You can just randomly cut an angle. That's completely fine. So we're gonna use these 2 pieces like this. And then I've got a piece of, not Balmy Blue, Petal Pink cardstock. It is 3 1/4 inches wide. And I'm going to attach this piece like this. Actually, there is no waste at all. We use every little bit of this DSP. So I'm gonna attach that so that there is 1/8 of an inch on the 3 sides. So the left, the right, and the top. And then I'm just gonna eyeball it. So I want about 1/8 of an inch. I think that looks like it's straight, and trim that down. Okay, and then I'm gonna repeat that with this piece. Put that, I'll line it up with the top, leaving about 1/8 of an inch. The top and the 2 sides, and again, just gonna eyeball it. I think that looks good. All right. Okay, we're done with our paper trimmer. Now we're gonna bring in our card base, which is going to be a piece of thick, basic white. Oh, Mary, this DSP is absolutely stunning. It is so pretty. So just a standard size card, and we're gonna add our layers. So I'm gonna add this layer first. And I'm gonna line it up so that it's even distance from the top and from the left. And then this one next. And I'm going to make sure that the distance on the right-hand side is the same as the top and the left. This part doesn't matter so much. Slide it down just a little bit. Okay. So that's gonna be our background. Now we need to build our focal point. So I'm gonna slide that aside. I have cut a vellum circle. So this is with the Stylish Shapes dies. I think this is the second largest Stylish Shape circle. Sarah, DSP stands for Designer Series Paper. It's basically what Stampin' Up! Calls patterned paper. Good question. All right, and then I've got a scrapped piece of white. Actually, I've got 2 scrap pieces. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to die cut this. I've got a piece of brushed gold cardstock, which the brushed gold is retiring. So I'm gonna do some die cutting, but first we're gonna do some stamping so we can do all our die cutting at the same time. All right, so I'm gonna take this guy right here, and if I pull in, where did my DSP go? Oh, here it is. I love the look of these birds. So I wanted to mimic this look. See how it's multicolored? It's got petal pink beak, petal pink legs, a little bit of petal pink on its wing, and then some mint macaron, which mint macaron is retiring. I love mint macaron. So I was sad to see that color go. And then some navy. Now I could just use the dies and cut out one of these, but I wanted to try to replicate it with some Stampin' Write markers. So I am using those 3 colors for Stampin' Write markers. And what I'm gonna do, when I'm using multiple colors of Stampin' Write markers, I always like to start with the lightest color. So I'm gonna start with petal pink. Now these are dual tipped. This is great for journaling or coloring in small images. And then this is a brush tip. So I'm gonna use the brush tip and the side of the brush tip and color its beak and its feet. So you may have noticed, if you've looked at the retiring list, you may have noticed that the Stampin' Write markers are retiring. They are actually redoing them. So it looks very similar. I think the barrel is actually just slightly longer. The tip, I'm so excited they're redoing this tip, because this tip, I'm not a fan of this tip. They are doing it redoing it so it's like a felt tip. So I think it'll work much better. I find this tip is just a little bit choppy. And then the brush, they're redoing a little bit. It looks exactly the same, but they told us that it writes a little bit differently. So you can look forward to that. Let's see here. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the next lightest color, which is mint macaron, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of color just to its wing, and then I'm gonna fill the rest in with some Night of Navy. And you can see that I'm using the side of the marker because this will prolong the life of the tip of your marker if you use the side. This is a very detailed stamp, which can be hard on your markers. So you want a really light touch, and you definitely want to use the side of that marker. Okay, and now, because I've been talking so much, that pink will have dried, but all I need to do to re-moisten it is just give it a huff. So I just huff on the stamp and stamp it down. And let me bring it a little closer. So you can see I got a very similar look to the DSP by using the Stampin' Write markers. All right. Okay, so now we need to do our greeting. So I'm gonna use my Stampin' Write markers again, and I'm gonna do some mint macaron and some Night of Navy. So I'm gonna ink up the heartfelt with mint macaron. And I should also point out that these are the Stampin' Write markers, which are water-based markers. These are different than our Stampin' Blends. Our Stampin' Blends are alcohol markers. You do not want to use those markers on your stamps. All right. Give that a huff. And stamp that down on here. Okay, you know what? Since we've got our markers out, we're gonna do all of our stamping at once. So I wanted to add a little bit of something to the inside of the card. So I decided to use this little trio of birds, and I want to, again, make them look like this bird here. So I'm just going to repeat that process and ink up the beaks and the feet. And then add a little bit of the mint. So was there a color out of the retiring colors that really surprised you, that you were so sad to see go? It's interesting to see. I did a post yesterday on Facebook with a picture of all of the retiring colors, and it was interesting to see what colors everybody was kind of disappointed to see retire. A nice range. So I'm just filling in all of the places that I did not color over with marker yet with the navy. And I'll give that a huff and stamp that down on there. Now these birds look like they're floating, so we need to add a little bit of something. So I'm going to take some Sahara sand, which is also another color that will be retiring, and this little sand, and we need a scrap piece of paper here. And I'm just going to stamp this just so that they're walking on something. Fill in some of these gaps. There we go. All right, so there's the inside. Okay, now we're ready to do our die cutting. Set this aside. I'm going to bring in my cute little mini machine. So this is one of the new in colors. This is boho blue. And this Stampin' Up! Has some of these left over from the promotion, the starter kit promotion that they had during Celebration. And they've announced that they will be available to demonstrators to purchase beginning April 4th, which means anything that is available to demonstrators to purchase, you can also include as part of your starter kit. So, and we can pre-order new colors, a selection of products from the new catalog, all beginning on April 4th. So it's an exciting time to be a demonstrator. So if you've been sitting on the fence, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. All right, so we've got our bird. We're going to set that aside. These two pieces we're going to cut. We're going to use this blade of grass, or I don't know what it is, seaweed, I don't know, whatever it is. And then we're going to use one of these larger shells to cut from the gold. And then I think we've got everything cut out. Okay. Now I move this out of the way. All right, the last thing that we just need to do is I want to cut this out. So I am going to go straight across the top. And then I'm going to fussy cut kind of around the bottom of the word sympathy. I love the look of fussy cut words. I know it's not for everyone, and you can cut it just in a rectangle. We've got a great stamp set in the annual catalog called Charming Sentiments that does this exact thing. So it's got coordinating dies, it's got lots of sentiments, and then there are dies that will give you the look of fussy cut greetings. And I noticed in the new catalog that there's at least one more stamp set that's being released that does that, if not multiples. There we go. All right. Okay, so let's bring back our card base and we're gonna go ahead and start assembling our little cluster here. So I'm gonna use a little bit of, actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna build on this first, because that way I can decide where I can put my adhesive so that it's not showing. So we're gonna use some dimensionals for our bird. And this is gonna go on right there. I'm gonna use my bone folder and just kind of curl this up just a little bit. Oh, Kim says she's shocked about mint macaron as well. Yeah, I was very surprised to see mint macaron go. It's not a color, I kind of go through spurts. It's not a color I use a ton, but I do love it. It's just such a pretty color. Okay, so that's gonna go there. And then this guy's gonna get popped up. So the gold, the brush gold, is a nice way to pull in the gold from the DSP. So this is gonna go on here. Like that, and then, okay, now we can go ahead and adhere this. Now, did I stick it on? It is on flat. So I'm gonna flip this over, and now I can apply adhesive in behind where my pieces are so that you can't see it. And this is gonna go on right about there. Okay, and then what I did was I took some of this ribbon and I cut it down the middle so that it is half the width, and I'm gonna tie a bow. So this is a great way to use this ribbon to stretch its use, or the amount of ribbon that you have is by cutting it in half, because it looks great cut in half and then tied as a bow, but it does look good whole as well. Okay, I'm trying to make it the right size. So I like to hold the knot and kind of pull. It keeps it a little tighter. And that is gonna go on there. I think that's a good size. We'll use a mini glue dot to adhere it. Pop that on there. And we'll trim the ends, but we'll just give it a minute here. I want to put the rest of the pieces together. Okay, actually I want this down just a little bit. We don't want it blocking the bird's face. Move it down just a little bit. Okay, and then our greeting will go over top like that. So I'm gonna put a bit of a dimensional on this side, and then the rest, I'll probably just use some seal adhesive. You know, that still doesn't feel like it's in the right space. Move it down a little lower. There we go, that's better. Let's make sure it's straight. And we'll trim the ends. And then, of course, we need to finish it off with some of these flat-backed pearls. I'm gonna grab one larger one, kind of tuck it in here, and then a couple of the smaller ones. And there we go. there is our finished card. Isn't it pretty? I just love how soft the colors are. I think it's a great color combination for a Sympathy card. And then we've got our stamped inside. So pretty. So you can actually make, out of one piece of 6x6, you can make 2 of these cards. And just think of how many you could make and how different that they would look with all of these different patterned papers. So you could do birthday cards, you could do thank you cards, you could do thinking of you cards, you could do more Sympathy cards. Like, there's just so many great patterns in this paper pack. And it's just a fabulous all occasion kind of stamp set. All right, now I promised that I would share a little peek at some of the cards that we're creating in this month's class to go. So you have until, when's the deadline here? April 4th to register for this class to go. And what you'll receive is you'll receive half a package of DSP. You'll receive 2 yards of the ribbon. You'll receive a whole package of the flatback pearls, and then the card kits to create 6 cards using this bundle, the Seaside Bay bundle, plus a bonus card. Okay, and here's a peek at 4 of them. Look how beautiful that one is. This one's a bit of a fun fold. Super cute. So that's a peek of 4 of the 6 cards that you'd be creating. Actually 7, because there's a bonus card this month. All right, so remember that the last day to sign up for the class to go is April 4th. And I did post in the description a link to where you can find all of the information. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.